Okay, and we are live.
Good evening, ladies. Welcome to the Town of Somers Planning Board meeting, February 9th, 2022. Chairman John Curry is out of state at the moment and asked me to pitch in for him. I like to call the meeting to order, and if you would all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to
Allegiance to
the flag
the
of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it
It
stands,
stands
one
one
nation,
nation
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty
and
and
justice
justice
for
for all.
all.
Thank you. Okay, Steve, could you take the roll, please?
I can indeed. Just give me a quick moment here. Dennis McNamara,
Present.
Vicki Gannon,
Here.
Jack Mattis, here, Nancy Garbino,
Here.
Chris Saberto,
Here,
Bruce Prince.
here,
First item on the agenda is consideration of our meeting minutes from January 12th. There was one small item that I had asked to be changed on page 6. It was simply to increase the coverage of water and sewer on the Baldwin Place project. That's the only change I am aware of. Are there any other comments or changes that you board wishes to make?
I had requested 2 changes which were made, and it just was attribution of a comment that I hadn't made, and just clarification about the bond issue on the tower and the parts of the tower. So that's done.
yeah, and
Okay.
I had some edits on a comment that I made regarding parking on the Somers Baldwin Place apartment complex project, which to the best of my knowledge have been amended, so I'm happy with that.
I'll make a
Then-
motion that we approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll
Second,
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, next item on the agenda is a project review. American Tower Dish Wireless application for a special use permit, wireless communications facility. This property is the Santoroni property on Route 35, just between Lasden and Wood Street. The applicant is going to make a presentation, I understand. Should we let him in?
Yes, this is John Kovacs, yes, and I am here in attendance.
Good evening, sir.
Hello.
Did you,
Shall,
go ahead. You have the
no,
floor.
oh, okay, all right, I have the floor. All right, well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to come back. This is a continuation of my initial discussion with you all approximately a month ago. Since that time, I've sent over some additional information to Mr. Smith in response to comments that have been made. Steve, I don't know if you're here on behalf of David Smith, but I didn't know if you wanted to run through your document first, or if you wanted me to give you all a general overview of what is being proposed. I will proceed.
John, you have
as
both you have
like.
both Steve Robbins and Dave Smith in attendance here. So we're both here and can
Okay.
speak to it.
Okay, all right. I didn't see Dave on. All right, so let me first provide an overview of, again, what Dish is proposing. I touched upon it a bit previously, but let me go into more detail. So again, this is a project to add antennas to an existing tower. As I had stated previously, Dish Wireless is a new entrant to the wireless cellular market. They intend to provide cellular services such as what Verizon is doing today, AT&T, and the recently merged Sprint and T-Mobile. So they're looking to offer wireless services to residents of Somers as well as residents of Westchester County. They have chosen as part of their network design to leverage existing infrastructure that exists across the country. As you all know, cellular networks have been in existence for about 30 years. I first got into this industry probably in 1997, building out some of the initial T-Mobile networks. So they've chosen to, rather than build out their own towers and secure ground space and build new towers, they have chosen to co-locate on existing American towers that are located throughout the area. I'm working on sites in New York as well as Maryland, Virginia. But for this particular site in the town of Somers, they've chosen to co-locate their infrastructure on this existing tower, which we actually refer to as a monopine tower, as it is a tower constructed to look like a tree.
Indeed it does.
They're proposing to, I'm sorry?
I said, indeed it does.
Yeah. In the summer, it looks like a tree. I don't know about the winter. But anyway, so they're proposing to add 3 panel antennas to the tower. The current tower, as it is built today, is a total of 129 feet tall. There are currently other carriers who have their infrastructure on the tower. Dish is proposing to be a additional tenant or 4th tenant on the tower, and they are adding their antennas at a height of 94 feet. So again, the existing tower is approximately 130 feet. They're going at 94 feet with their 3 panel antennas. As this is a monopine tree, their antennas, as are the other carriers, will be incorporated within the existing branches so that it would help to camouflage the 3 antennas that are proposed to be added to the tower. At the base of the tower is what we refer to as the fenced or existing fenced compound. So today there's a wooden fence that surrounds this installation. I believe there's already a shelter. Shelters are usually 10 foot by 20 foot, precast concrete, about 10 feet tall. That was what carriers used initially. Unlike the previous installations, Dish is going to incorporate everything into a single RF cabinet. That single RF cabinet will sit on a 5 foot by 7 foot steel platform that is elevated off the ground approximately a foot. That cabinet itself measures 72 inches tall, approximately 30 inches deep, 32 inches wide. Again, it's a single RF cabinet. That will sit behind the existing fenced compound that surrounds the entire installation. There's also some existing vegetative buffer that is also surrounding 3/4 of the installation except for the access drive. Again, that's the installation. Again, Dish is just adding 3 antennas to the tower itself, incorporated in amongst the pine branches, and then at the base there is a single RF cabinet proposed. I'll take a break at this time. Are there any questions as to what is being proposed on the tower side?
That's very clear.
Yeah, I have a question. Is this going to be the only tower that's going to come before us in Somers, or are there other ones that are going to be coming in so that they fill out the network?
So let me answer that question in two parts. So I've been hired actually on behalf of American Tower in support of Dish. I handle a certain number of sites. There are other peers of mine who are handling other sites. For the projects that I am working on, this is the only site that I am working on as Summers. However, I can't speak on what other consultants are doing for Dish that may also be in Summers. So for me,
Okay.
I only have this site. I unfortunately can't tell you if there are others. I did, as part of the additional information that I submitted, and hopefully was distributed to the group, is what we refer to as coverage plots. These are propagation plots that identify what is the predicted coverage. Again, to be clear, Dish has no operating cell sites as of today. They have a number of cell sites that are in various stages of permitting, whether they're seeking special permits, seeking building permits, but they don't currently operate their network today. Their licenses that exist, and again, it was another set of documents that I provided, require that Dish build out its network by a certain date. So they are aggressively trying to secure all the necessary permits so that they can get their network launched and provide service. But again, so my application is, again, mine is the only one I'm aware of in Summers, but there are other proposals in works in surrounding communities, so that ultimately what Dish will be able to do is provide seamless coverage between all their tower sites. So the propagation map I showed shows predicted coverage from this site and in conjunction with other proposed sites in neighboring towns or cities. So again, that was provided previously to the group.
Okay.
But to answer your question, I don't know if there's going to be others coming before you.
Mr. Chairman, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
we should get
So
that Dish.
just to clarify, the planning office did receive a call from another representative of American Tower, and they are interested in, this relates to the Dish application, and they're interested in adding a carrier to the existing tower at 121 Route 100. So you could anticipate that there may be another application similar to this coming before you within the next month or so.
Yeah. I guess
Okay,
different
Bigger.
representatives representing Dish. It would be nice if we got a master plan from Dish.
would that be
Yeah,
possible?
so again, one of the PowerPoint document that I provided, and I don't know if I'm able to share my screen. I can do that, or Mr. Smith, if you have the document, if you want to share your screen, they can give you a rough idea of where their sites are. You know the geography a little bit better than I do. But if that's doable, I can share my screen, or David, if you want to share yours, and I can walk.
If you could share your screen, this is Vicky. I think that'd be helpful. I mean, I'm looking at the propagation maps, and even if I expand them, just because I'm looking at them on my own screen, it's difficult to differentiate. There's the before, the standalone, and the after. So I would just be interested for just a short narration that of the differentiation between the three of them. I mean, I'm looking at them, and everything is coded with numbers. So
Right,
it would be really helpful.
John, you
All
should
right,
be able
well,
to share your screen.
Yeah, I'll do it now. all right, so let me know when you all can see my screen.
See, now in color, it's so much better.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
It's all
let
shades of
me,
gray. It's hard to see.
All right, let me minimize this. So let me start at the beginning.
Thank you.
Let me go back to 1. All right, so let me also shrink this down, and let me open this up. So, all right, so what we're doing here is so each of these numbers NJJER 1244, 1396, 1288, 1289. Each of these represent a proposed location where there's an existing tower that Dish is going to co-locate.
They're gonna
Right,
co-locate
so-
them.
You're at it now, right?
Yeah, so my subject property is this one right here. Again, we've got, there's a 202 running across, you've got the lake here, 35 is coming down. So this is my site right here. So on the next page, again, this is what, if all the sites the Dish is proposing to build are approved and permitted and they can go ahead and build, this is the predicted coverage. Now, what they do is they're using 3 different colors. Again, they're a little hard to read. Sometimes color choices would be better, but dark green is the best coverage, and that's usually found right in close proximity, a quarter mile, half a mile, 3/4 of a mile of the existing cell site. Light green is coverage a little bit further away. Orange is you're getting on the fringe of coverage. You could probably still hold a call. White is where you wouldn't have any coverage. You would drop a call if you were mobile. All right. So again, this is predicted coverage with these neighboring sites turned on. Again, with our proposed location before you all, with this site represented here in the middle. Next slide is what Dish predicts the coverage to be should it receive approval to build at its proposed height of 96 feet. And again, this is just this site alone. All right, and again, this is predicted coverage. I know that you all usually receive drive test data, but it's there's no drive test data because there's no existing sites that are property. The final slide is, again, all our neighboring sites turned on, plus the incorporation of the proposed site at 2580 Route 35. So again, even with the site, there are some pockets of summers in neighboring areas that are still not covered, and those could be the other application that Mr. Smith just had identified. But again, these are all predicted coverage. This is subject to change. This is usually based upon coverage during the summer months when all the foliage is in place. Coverage is usually much better in the winter months because the leaves are not there, which attenuate the signal and reduce the distance that it travels.
So,
But anyway, I
just
hope
just
that,
to clarify something,
yeah,
if I may. So this aftermap is only based on this one site, not post integration with the other sites, correct?
so let me go back. So again, this is the application before you is predicted to provide this level of coverage
Right.
with all
And-
the other sites that are proposed turned off in their
I got you.
prediction.
Okay, understood. So it is
Yeah.
just solely about this application. This coverage map after is only showing
Yeah.
the improvement for the one site. Okay, because
Yes,
there's a
and
lot of
it's
coverage here
very-
that's not covered.
Yes, there's a lot of, again, sheet 3 shows basically the extent, the geographical extent of what this cell site is going to cover. So you can see it's not very substantial. That's why there are a cellular network of sites. Rather than building one single site 1,000 feet tall, they build multiple sites at low heights and low power, so they can reuse their frequencies over and over. But again, this proposal before you is intended to provide this level of coverage. And assuming the DISH is successful in securing permits for their other installations collectively in this portion of Westchester County, they're predicting that this is the level of coverage that they would initially see. Obviously, at some point, DISH will probably go back and do some infill to fill up gaps that result.
Need a tower at Lasden.
Just as a
Right, so does this,
I must be missing something because it looks to me, the aftermath looks like and logically, it looks like it's showing the combined propagation of all the towers on which DISH wants to be on if they successfully have all the applications.
Right, right.
correct,
Okay, so that is what it is.
Right.
And it also looks very similar to the before map. So the before map, there's no DISH coverage at all.
yeah, so what DISH is, and again, this is predictive coverage for the surrounding sites. This is the proposed site, is not turned on, so there is some smattering of coverage provided by surrounding sites.
Gotcha. Okay,
But
I
if
understand
you're
now.
in
So,
this area, you're very likely to drop a call.
okay,
Um,
so this is assuming you get all the other sites that you want and not this one. The middle one, now we're looking at just the site that we're discussing tonight. And the final
Yeah.
one is if they all I got it now. Thank you. Okay.
Yep, you got it. Yep.
Perfect.
So,
Thank you.
so then, okay, I understand that, but then, so even with the addition of DISH co-locating on all of these other sites in the future, why do we have such a large swath of no coverage between west of the
Because it-
Amawalk Reservoir, right there? Yeah,
No, there's no
So,
tower in that area.
There's
You
probably
need a
no
tower.
towers there, or there may be towers there that DISH has not secured yet the right to co-locate there. So again, DISH is leveraging existing towers, so it's very possible that either there's a tower there that they haven't garnered approval to co-locate on.
There's no tower there.
or
There's no
there
tower.
isn't anything,
No
and that's
tower
the same
there.
coverage for all carriers.
There
yeah,
is no
and
tower.
it's a large residential area in that.
That's Orchard Hill. There are no towers up there.
Right. That's why I'm asking, right? Because we want to try to maximize the service for all of our residents. And, I don't see that happening with the addition of co-location with the current infrastructure the way it is.
Right. But again, this is a single application that's before you all. It sounds like there's other applications that are likely coming. And again, DISH's goal is to not provide mediocre coverage. They want to provide coverage because who's going to switch to DISH if they don't have good coverage?
Understood.
Everyone
And
today
that's why I'm concerned.
Understood.
You've got a large swath that won't have any coverage. Forget about it being mediocre.
Well, it isn't DISH. It's nobody
It's-
has coverage.
Nobody has coverage there.
Yeah, that's
Right,
nobody.
and
It's
I
not just
recognize
DISH.
that, and that is a large, that is a brunt of a lot of our complaints that we get. That we
Because-
approve these projects and yet I still don't have cellular.
Because
So
there's
I
no,
understand that that's not DISH's issue, but it's just something that I want to bring to light.
You
No,
need,
and
you need additional
it's
tower
a very,
in the Lasden area or Orchard Hill.
Yeah, Orchard Hill. That's Orchard Hill.
You need an additional tower.
Yeah.
To cover that white spot, those white spots.
Right, but
Orchard
that's
Hill
not
and
germane to
Lasden.
this project that's before us.
Right. Yeah,
no, I
we
mean,
don't,
it's good, it's
It's a
good
different
input.
subject.
Yeah, but
It's a different-
it's important to discuss it and to make it aware that it's an ongoing issue. And, this has been, you go back, I mean, I can't tell you how difficult it was 30 years ago to get any towers approved. No one wanted them. They didn't want to deal with them. They didn't want to look at them. They didn't want to deal with, the negative impact. So it's very difficult to get towers built. And then, the ones that were built, the carriers would put them up wherever they could get approvals to do it. But as you all say, it sounds like it's a coverage issue for everyone, and maybe the town should consider putting out an RFP to build something there or something. But I'll certainly pass it back to Dish and ask them what they intend to do to fix that spot between these neighboring sites. But specific to this application is to fill another coverage gap. So
I have a question. Is
Yes.
Dish, I understand what Dish is doing, and you've explained fully what you're doing. But one aspect I'm curious about, has Dish, as a new entry in this business, is it their plan to put up towers? At the moment, you're co-locating.
at the moment they're co-locating, yes. I don't know. I would absolutely
Return on
be
investment.
happy to ask them, but I don't know. I know initially they're trying to leverage what is out there. Like I said, it's very difficult to
Right.
get towers approved.
I was just curious. You don't have to belabor it. I was just curious.
Yeah.
Dave,
one would assume that they're gonna first do co-locations, and if they find holes, then they're gonna probably
They're gonna have
petition
to-
the towns to put in other things. But let me ask a question. Am I misunderstanding that we really, hasn't the federal government said that, that we do not have the right to not have, to prevent these towers? I thought
Correct,
there was-
Correct.
correct.
Right, so I mean, and so I'm assuming that Dish is going to be putting in like 40 or 50,000 antennas all across the country in order to get service.
That
So-
sounds
Provide-
about right.
Provides,
That's typically what the carriers have out there. Yes, there's a lot of infrastructure out there.
I assume this is a good idea.
Dish
Okay.
thinks so. Dish wants to offer a competitive service.
Okay,
So.
Dave, would you like to pick it up with your comments, please?
Can I ask a question first?
Sure.
Yeah, do you want me
I-
to stop sharing? Or
Yeah.
is there something else you want me to put
No,
up?
I think we've gotten everything we need out of that map.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
thank you very much for showing it. Just relative to this tower, and Nancy, you were on the board at the same time. I don't know if there's anybody else on this call who was. Didn't we, when we approved the construction of this tower, wasn't it approved so that it could expand and go taller? Wasn't this the one?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
And if it wasn't this one, it was the one down at Whitehall Corners, because we
Amato
did the
Farm.
two, we did
Amato
the
Farm.
two.
It's the
at
Amato
same
Farm.
one
time.
after another. Because this one is tricky because Lasden, it seems like a natural choice, it's nearby, but you can't put a tower on parkland. So I think one
not?
of the things that we did in the planner at the
Why
time,
not?
yeah.
No,
No.
I don't think that's true, but
well, that
I
was,
think-
that was the case, that you couldn't put it on the park, because we all said, oh, well, and we said at the time, I think we said, well, we provide for the ability for it to go taller if was needed. And the planner at the time wasn't in favor of it, because she said, well, if you plan to do that, then it will happen. And we thought, well, it might be good to be able to do it if we had
Right,
to, and we were
right.
constrained. So
I think it was this tower. It was this tower.
I think it was this one, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how the tower was designed. I mean, so we furnished a structural report as part of our submittal that says the tower can support this addition at a lower, but now if you're talking about going higher, that's a whole different.
It is. I know, I just wanted to,
Now,
I just had a, yeah, no, there's no doubt in my mind I can support what you're looking to do, but I have a feeling this tower was approved so that it could go taller if it had to. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. All right, what other information can I address, answers, or questions that I can answer? Again, just to touch on a few things. So, your ordinance usually identifies things such as a landscape plan. Again, because we are not altering anything that presently exists at the ground level, we're not adding any buildings or structures such as shelters. Again, we're adding a single cabinet
Right.
that will be hidden by the existing wooden fence. We would request a waiver on that requirement. But are there any other questions that the board has that I can hopefully answer?
Dave, could you
Yeah.
pick it up with your memo, and that kind of puts a circle around some of the questions?
Yeah, I think, I think more of the technical comments are from Steve Robbins. And the only comment that I had, Mr. Novak's, was just to provide the board with, all right, so what's out there now? And to provide at least some photo documentation. And I think he provided that. And I would ask him just to put that up on the screen very quickly, just so you know that what's out there isn't going to change from a visual standpoint. And then from that, I think from a seeker standpoint, this is fairly straightforward. And procedurally, you have the option of either scheduling a public hearing, or because the matter, the site really doesn't change in any material way, of waiving the site plan, public hearing requirements, and requesting that a resolution be prepared. So those are the only two things. If Mr. Novak would like to put that graphic up very quickly, and then if he wants to respond to Mr. Robbins and his technical comments, but I think that he's done a very good job with responding to the comments and the issues raised by kind of the technical staff and by the planning.
All right, so per Mr. Smith's request, so I had put this together. Again, this is this is not present conditions. Obviously, this is I took from Google Street View. You got Amarak Road, Route 35 here. This is the existing tower here on the left. It blends in quite nicely. Again, this is 130 foot to the top. To the bottom of the existing faux pine limbs is about 60 feet, and dishes going in amongst here at 93 feet. So again, what they're proposing to add will be incorporated in amongst the existing branches, so it will help blend in. This is actually a picture from earlier this year that was incorporated in the construction drawings that I submitted. So again, here's a site. You've got this, I believe, is a 8-foot fence. You've got the view of the shelter that's in the background. Yeah, we are not proposing a shelter. Again, we're doing a single RF cabinet. This is the pole itself. You have your pine branches. You have your one existing carrier up at the top. You've got a second carrier here in the middle. You have your third carrier, this is one of their antennas. And then the fourth carrier will be Dish, will be directly below them in amongst the branches. Again, this is the site. So as you go in, you drop down into your gravel access path. 35 is up here, up above. And, but anyway, this is all existing, this is all disturbed. We're not looking to disturb any additional land. We're going inside the existing fence compound that's already disturbed. So, any questions on this?
No.
I would move that we waive site plan review under Somers Code. I think it's, I'm just looking at my code, 170-129.9B. The proposed modification, movement, expansion, change, or structural alteration of a wireless or attached wireless telecommunication facility is minor. So I move that we waive site plan review.
Excellent
for that.
proposal.
I
Excellent
would
proposal.
second that. Definitely second that.
Super duper.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Unanimous.
Steve, you got any technical?
The only major technical item we had was the town code does request that the structural evaluation include a visual inspection
Right.
by the certifying engineer. And that specific language is just missing from the structural evaluation report. So I think that's can be a condition of it.
Okay, yeah, and yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm happy if you make that a condition of approval. I actually have the document. It's from earlier in 2021, and it is a on-site report of all the connections, anchor bolts, all the hardware associated with the tower. So I can definitely furnish that.
Very good. Nope. The rest of our comments have board discretion to waive some of the requirements that were really more geared towards a new installation, a new tower as opposed to this co-location.
What about a public hearing?
I think we
Waiving.
waived it. We
Well,
waived it.
excuse me, I was reading the site plan review section. My goodness.
Oh, because
Site plan review.
I was going to say we should waive.
Yeah. Public
I
hearing.
would recommend waiving this public hearing.
Yeah.
I would second that.
We can waive them both. And I would second waiving the public hearing. I think that there's minimal impact. It's a co-location.
Right.
And it would be different if this was a new site plan for a new tower build, but it's not. So I
Yeah,
agree with that.
Agreed.
I would like to make an intellectual comment. The photograph of the tower is the best view in all these years that I have gotten of the tower, because when you drive by it, you only have about barely a minute to see it, and you can't look at it because it's a dangerous curving road, so you never really get a good look at it. I finally got a look at it.
Okay.
Well, thank you for that.
Then if there's no other comments or concerns, we can ask the staff to prepare the resolutions for the special permit, the site plan, and seeker.
Yes.
With the one condition that engineer's
condition.
inspection is clarified.
Including that, including condition. I'll make that motion.
I'll
Second.
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Done. Thank you. That's it for this evening. Our next planning board meeting is 4 weeks from tonight on March 9th at 7:30. Thank
Excellent.
you all and good evening.
Thank you very much.
Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute. Motion to adjourn. Sorry about that.
I second that.
guys?
You're in a hurry there, Dennis.
Yeah, I'm out of
Yeah,
practice. Out of practice.
We haven't had a single item in a while, so I could see why he wants to get off.
Yeah, that's a record.
Hopefully we'll be back at the town hall for the next meeting.
Oh, yes,
true.
that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll see you all there.
Very
Exactly.
good.
Okay.
Have a good
Yeah,
evening,
we
everyone.
voted all in
Good night.
favor. Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
night.
aye, aye.
All right. Travel safely.
Unanimous. Unanimous.
Unanimous, right.
Thanks, Jack. Good night,
Good
everybody.
night, all.
Good night.